ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Sideline Sports. JB has, I believe, a Jarvis Landry jersey on, so that's a positive.
I wanted to point this out before we start. This is John Misick. This is, he usually comments on Facebook, but he asked before the show even started, I wonder if Jake will wear another team's jersey again. Well, John, I didn't. It was JB this week. So
my turn.
You were close. You knew somebody would, but it wasn't me. So I didn't.
My turn.
JB did it.
My turn.
All right. It was your turn. All right. So where do we want to start this week, gentlemen? Do we want to start with NFL? I feel like there's a little bit of stuff going on.
Yeah, the NFL's been there's been a lot of stuff happening. Yeah, let's start with that.
Football. What's been going on football?
All right. So JB didn't know what I was talking about, so maybe, John, you will know. Did you hear about the taunting rule change, or was I the only one that knows about what I'm talking about?
I think it's stupid.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can tell JB, because I know JB doesn't know. I talked to him before the show started. He had no idea, so I wanted to get his live reaction about this. The NFL has changed the rules about taunting. And the rule is there is absolutely none allowed. I mean, nothing. If you taunt during the game, you will be penalized basically immediately. And, John, if I remember correctly.
Did you see the Colts player?
That was what I was going to get to next. But I believe, is it twice in a game you get kicked out?
Yeah, I think it's two times you get ejected, or three somewhere, but it's just a stupid rule.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now, but I'm 99.9% sure it was twice.
Are they insane?
You're the biggest sport in America, and you're setting yourself back by doing dumb things like this.
And it's all subjective.
Yeah.
It's football.
Yep.
You're beating the heck out of each other, but you can't have any emotion.
No.
A guy is running full speed at me. He missed me. I'm not going to want to turn around and say a little something.
So
that's sports for you. That's competition.
It's funny that JB says that, because I want to share something on my screen. Because, John, you talked about the Colts. This was exactly the play I intended to show, because
he did nothing wrong.
This is how bad it's gotten. This was a play preseason. This was the play. I'm going to play it, and I just want live reaction from JB, because I know, John, you know what I'm talking about. You saw what happens. So the Colts running back takes the ball. There is a huge pile, and he manages to push the pile.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
The pile to about
Hold
8
on.
yards.
That right there. Hold on.
All right.
I'll go back. I will go back for just a moment.
Let's count the yards.
Hold on. Forget that.
Back.
This right here, just a minor flex when he got up, not directed necessarily at anybody, would be a penalty.
But he pushed the pile like he's excited. Like he went like this.
Exactly.
Like, it was nothing.
So we can rewind it now. So they started on the 41-yard line.
Forget about that. Look where the first contact is. It's on the 45.
And he pushes
50.
He pushes them
8,
almost
9 yards, 10 yards.
Almost 10 yards.
And you want that man to have no emotion?
Yes.
Get out of here, Roger Goodell.
I mean, he didn't, he wasn't in somebody's face.
At him.
He wasn't spiking the ball. He wasn't rude. He just flexed because he's like, I'm so strong, whatever. So that's
Christmas
fine.
morning, Mrs. Goodell buys Roger what he really wanted for Christmas.
This is it. I love this. Hold on. His head direction looked at the defender, because he looked at the defender. Oh, God, we're going to die.
Can you imagine Christmas morning at the Goodell house? Ooh, a gift. I'm not allowed emotion.
Exactly.
No, I will be punished all day. What the heck is that?
Kids, you open up your presents, but don't show emotions. If you do, I'll take them away.
Don't be happy.
You're in trouble.
You found the PlayStation 5 that nobody else could get. Don't be happy.
You can't be excited. You can show, all you can show is thanks to your parents and or Santa Claus.
Don't look at your dad or your mom
that's
and show emotion.
You have to look down if you're talking to your parents, if they're the ones that got it for you, if it wasn't Santa,
Wow.
if it was your parents, you must look down as I am doing now and say, thank you, Mom and Dad, for this wonderful gift. And that's all you can say. Nothing more, nothing less.
He is
You're
out
not
of order.
allowed to. I mean,
You're out of order, Roger
I-
Goodell.
I got you. This is, I mean, and we know he's watching because he seems to always watch. This is ridiculous. Look, I
want to take the stick off your wall and, bang on some NFL office and say, look, that's a penalty. Yeah, we're talking about a little flat.
By the way, in Canton, I was not allowed to sit on Roger Goodell's draft chair. They have that in the museum when you walk in. It's gated off and has a cop in front of it, so you can't touch it. I wanted to sit on it. It's the actual draft chair he used the last couple of years. This year, the year before, and I believe the year before that, he used this draft chair.
So
we're not allowed to touch it, but I really wanted to sit on it. I asked the cop, I was like, what would you do if I sat on it? He's like, you can sit on it, but I'm not sure what would happen after you sit on it. He's like, but you're welcome to come and sit on it. I was like,
good luck.
So I'm going to now start referring to as King Goodell. Good old King Goodell. No more commissioner, because this is stupidity. And last time we had a tyrannical king like this, I think it was 1776. There was a guy, George Washington, Ben Revere. I don't know.
This is ridiculous. I mean, we always joke that the NFL stands for the no fun league, and I know that's like a joke.
It does.
But
it does.
I mean, this
you're
is
the top.
This is
you're
exceptionally
the top.
bad.
You have. I mean, you're trying to. What are you trying to be like baseball, where you're not allowed to show emotion? Like baseball's in last place out of the four sports, in my opinion, for fun.
Baseball has emotion. It's the players that police it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but still, there's something there. There's something there where you're just not allowed to have fun. And football is at the top of the class, and you're trying to put yourself back in the middle of the pack. Like, stop! You're doing great. You don't
Stop
have
setting
to
yourself
fix
back.
what isn't broken in that
I
regard.
agree.
Like, a couple years ago, remember whenever they lightened up and let players celebrate? Finally, they lightened up and started letting them allowed to celebrate after they score.
Yep.
You did right. You did a good job with that. Why did you mess with this? Why did you do that?
There's
a simple.
It's a simple rule that I follow in life. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's sports. You don't like the guy talking. Beat him.
Stop him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's how I believe it should. I can understand if it's blatant taunting and it's to a degree it's too far, if you will. Yeah. I can understand that. If you're getting up in someone's face, right?
I love that though. If you get in each other's face, I love that.
I'm okay with that. But I could understand the league saying we're not going to allow that. I could understand that happening. Yeah. But when a guy just gets up and all he does is flex his muscles in an attempt to basically say, "Look at me. I'm a grown man. Look what I can do." Right? He's excited, and you should be able to celebrate that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
10 yards. He moved a pile of men.
10 yards.
That is okay with me.
A pile of men. He moved the whole inside line, linebackers, secondary, 10 yards in an NFL
Some guy
game.
we don't know. This isn't Derrick Henry. This isn't Cook. It would be impressive regardless, but this is some guy we really don't know.
Let's be real. This is a guy that's probably never going to see a lot of playing time, if any. And I don't say that to belittle him.
No, they got like three really good running backs.
He may not see a lot of playing time. Let's be real. With the running backs that they already have,
yep,
he's not likely. And that's okay. That's what happens. So for preseason, this means the world to this guy. Because
it was amazing. It was a hell of a play.
But for him, this is his playing time.
Yeah.
And to say he can't celebrate even, I mean, come on.
But I mean, I can guarantee you Reich was 100% okay with that. I guarantee absolutely. He was not upset. I guarantee he said, "You do that every time. You move that pile every time like that." I'm sure he was not upset because he was happy about the football
I don't like
play.
The rule. I'm going to say out of order. King Goodell.
I mean,
bye-bye. I mean, they can have Bubbles the Chimp as commissioner of the NFL, and they do a better job. This guy is insane.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, I understand you don't want players to do certain things, and I can understand that completely, and I respect that even. But I'm sorry, let them have a little fun.
Yep, and John is right. He said the league probably won't penalize superstars like Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes.
Not.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see
what's
it.
the full definition of taunting? Because a quarterback throws a great pass, he does that little arm thing. Is that taunting?
If you do it in the direction of any
another player.
Of
an opposing player.
Okay, so anyone that's ever been on a football field, the odds are there's a player around you everywhere. Because to not have an opposing player, facing you, almost impossible. Unless you're the punter. Unless you're the punter and your back is turned to the other end zone, someone's facing you. So everything's taunting them. Okay.
Basically.
Like you said, you can't show emotion.
That's the wrong way to go. I mean, there are degrees of, when it's not right, when it becomes physical. Being in the face, I can understand. It's a tough game.
That's why I say, if you're getting someone's face physically, helmet to helmet,
I love that.
I can understand that being penalized, though. But that I could give a pass to, like I said. But, I mean, let the players show some emotion. I mean, come on.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna break it off of football for a second because we're talking about emotion. Did you see the tweets about the Sunday Night Baseball crew? About our colleague Alex Rodriguez?
No.
How bad he is? I forget who it was.
I mean, I know that already,
please indulge me.
They were destroying him about he just makes his point so. I forgot the word that they used. It was just so bad that he overemphasizes his point that you probably pull it up if you search it on Twitter. It was just they destroyed him. I loved it. I don't like A-Rod. He is horrible at Sunday Night Baseball.
I don't disagree. I don't
he tried to make the Field of Dreams thing about him. I think he tweeted out like a photo crop, like a cropped picture of him. Instead of Aaron Judge, it was him going through the cornfield. Like, you saw that picture of Aaron Judge, the 99.
Of course, that was awesome.
He cropped himself, and it was 13 going through that cornfield or something like that. I was like, geez, A-Rod, you always got to make it about you, don't you? You always got to find a way to make it about A-Rod. Everything. This guy.
That's how he is.
Yeah, he was, they destroyed him. I'm looking it up as we speak because I saw that yesterday, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I admit I did not.
Here we go. I'll read it to you 1 second. So, Brandon McCarthy just can't listen to these games anymore. Baseball has to do better than this. It's all so bad. It's not fun, easy, and informative conversation. This feels like work, like I'm being bullied by people I don't like. About A-Rod. A-Rod doesn't speak like a person who's ever had a normal conversation. Tonally, inflection, the points he's making, and how he makes them, all that pushes you away as opposed to drawing you in.
Damn.
I mean, that's bad. I mean, it's one thing to be ripped. Like, people don't like Joe Buck.
He's a damn good commentator, even though he's arrogant and he seems like not a nice person.
I'm not a fan of him because I feel like he's always very biased. But he is
he does a really good job.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's great.
I can see people's gripes with him, right? Yeah.
I think every team thinks Joe Buck is biased against him, which is why he's good because he's that good. Everybody hates him.
And Aikman are real. Like he said at the Hall of Fame, Aikman should win an Emmy for his job, and Aikman does a really good job. I think. That's my opinion, but I think he does do. I think
they work well together. I just don't like them.
I like Aikman as a commentator. Like I like the job that he does, and he's really good at informing you of things. Now maybe he's not Romo, but I do think that Aikman doesn't get enough credit.
You can never make those comments about Joe Buck, Troy Aikman,
I don't.
Tony Romo. No. They're enjoyable.
Tony Romo's great.
Like them.
Jim Nance. Jim Nance is fantastic. Yep. I love Jim Nance.
I like him and Phil Simms together when they do stuff together.
I missed Phil Simms.
They're fun together.
Yeah.
But they have a conversational tone. You can actually listen to him.
Yes.
A-Rod is awful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listening to A-Rod is like,
A-Rod is trying too hard. I mean, I think that's the best way I would describe it. He's trying to be the perfect announcer, when in reality, I think what makes a good announcer is just be yourself. Just call the game as you see it.
Collinsworth and Al Michaels are really good together. I think they do a fantastic job.
Yes.
As much crap as Collinsworth gets, he does a really good job.
He does a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. He makes some mistakes, but him and Al Michaels are really good together.
Yes.
Got to give him his credit. He did a good job taking over. He did a good job taking over because Al Michaels needed a partner at some point. Yeah. And Pat Summerall, John Madden retired, and Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels. I didn't think it was a good pairing at first, but they really have come a long way together. And
it's an enjoyable listen. I mean,
yes,
you can't. There is nobody in my mind that's as bad as A-Rod. He's the worst.
No.
The
only person that I think is close is Dan. What's his name on ESPN for? Like, he does like Sunday Night Baseball, like Dan Showman or something like that. Like
I'm thinking
the bald guy.
I know he does like
Sunday, or he did Monday Night Baseball or Sunday Night Baseball. He's so monotone. He has no emotion in his voice. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Now that we're talking kind of like about announcers and stuff, we'll kind of transition back to football. What do you think about Eli and Peyton having their own broadcast for Monday Night Football? In addition to what they do for Monday Night Football, they'll have their own, I guess, like simulcast or whatever.
I love it because
it's like another.
I'm looking
forward
to hearing. I'm looking forward to hearing Peyton, and I just think him and Eli will be funny together. Like I think Peyton will provide some incredible analysis. Not to say that Eli won't, but Peyton is obviously.
I don't hear enough of Eli to know what to expect because he's always been a guy that shies away from talking in the media.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard enough of him talking to know what to expect yet. So I'm excited though.
Peyton will provide some really incredible analysis. I could tell you that regardless.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I've seen the way that Peyton and their other brother Cooper Manning work together, and it's very funny because Cooper provides the comical relief to Peyton being a little bit more serious. And so I could definitely see Eli and Peyton working similarly because I've seen them do
they're going to be
like commercials
they're
together.
Phenomenal.
I think that
their commercials were great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Eli can be the comical one. He may not be hilarious, but he'll work well with Peyton to be funny enough. Right. But and I got to tell you, speaking of Eli, if you guys don't follow him on Twitter, I'm serious, go follow him because his Twitter is one of my favorites.
Is it better than Brady? Because Brady is a good one.
He's pretty funny. He's not
Brady's
super active, but he's very funny. Like he's very witty.
I'll follow him.
And I'm not just saying that because I like Eli as a fan. I read some of his tweets and they're very funny. I mean, some of the stuff he's doing is just, work, but
now
he's pretty good.
How do you guys feel about year 2 of Monday Night Football with Lou Riddick? I'm excited. I like him. And the other guys, are you guys excited? Did you not like them the first year? I didn't mind them. I thought for being rookies, I gave them a shot. I want to see what they can do in year 2.
I don't think they were the best I've ever seen, but I think they were decent.
They were watchable. CBS has had some horrible crews do football. They're so bad I forget the names. Being in New York, we don't usually get the CBS crew.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll watch like a late game and you'll hear that, or if a bye week you'll get the CBS game and you'll hear those bad announcers. It's like, really?
Hold on. So I want to go back to Eli for just 2 seconds because I pulled up his Twitter really quickly. This is just like one example. Is he hilarious? No, but I think this is comical. I do enjoy it. It's a bobblehead of Eli, right? And he's funny. He's very clever about it, though. Is that what I really like? Look like what a nerd. That's a stupid comment, but it's funny and it's enjoyable. And I mean, this is just a great reply. I mean, I love Eli, but that's just great. But that's what Eli's Twitter is. I mean, here you go. He works with Frank's Red Hot a lot. So the tweet, for anybody that's listening, says, okay, I'll give the chicken a rest for a minute. This is for my true fans only. When did Frank's Red Hot brand ambassador Eli Manning post his first tweet? And Eli's response is, am I allowed to play? Because obviously he knows the answer.
Yeah.
But again, is it like the funniest thing I've ever read? No. But I agree with what JB said. He does have a dry humor, and he can be clever. And so that's why I'm excited to see him with Peyton, because Peyton can be very serious, and he's very intelligent. And I think Eli will play the perfect an intelligent
they're brothers
partner.
too, so they have chemistry.
Right.
He'll be an intelligent partner, but he will be hilarious. Like, I think he's going to have some good quips.
In week 1, we will hear more from Eli than all he is as he was a starting quarterback for the Giants. Just so you understand that.
You're right.
But that's surprising because quarterbacks don't typically they're not typically super quiet like that. Typically, in the media, they're all about themselves, and he was just about business.
That's why I always liked it.
And in New York, being quiet like that.
Yeah. And he got away with it.
And the media didn't really attack him, and they could have, especially at the end, where I still don't blame Eli.
No, not at all.
But the media could have went off on him.
He never, an idiot.
He never did,
I think Eli was one of those athletes that was made to play in New York just because he was very, very calm, always very calm, collected. He didn't stress often. I mean, I know he made dumb faces on the sidelines and all that. I get it. But if you ever watched him play, he didn't freak out. He was just, I got this. He was Mr. Cool.
So,
and that was on the field and off the field, in front of the media. That was what he did very well.
I'm going to ask a Manning question of both you guys.
What do you got?
So obviously we're going to say Peyton had better receivers throughout his career.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So if you give Eli Peyton's receivers, do you think Eli is just as good?
No,
not at all.
Okay.
The brain Peyton Manning had to read the defenses and call audibles and know what the other team was running. Like a lot of times, like he would see what their coverage was. Eli never, ever was close to the football IQ that Peyton had.
I would have to.
It's one. I mean, there's not many quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that come close to that IQ. What he could do at the line, that's legendary.
The thing about Eli was games that you played a tough opponent, you got the best. When you played the team you were supposed to beat,
when he played NFC East, you
didn't know what
he
Eli
played down the competition a lot.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing.
Right.
His career should have been a lot better.
I think the other thing was a lot of the time he didn't have a great offensive line. And that does.
He had no mobility, none whatsoever.
Well, Peyton didn't really have a lot either. I hate to say,
so when I was in Canton, I read a quote about Peyton. I didn't know. I guess early in his career, or maybe middle of his career, he was lining up against, a really good defense, and one of the linebackers was out of place, was blitzing, but was out of place. And Peyton Manning was at the line of scrimmage. And he called him out. He told their middle linebacker, he's like, hey, your linebacker over there that's blitzing, he's out of place. He should be over there. And he called it. The guy was out of place, and he threw a pass and completed or something like that. Told the defense before the play, hey, your guy's out of place. He's blitzing, but he's in the wrong spot.
Right.
That's legendary, man. That's awesome.
But that goes to prove our point of why I say Peyton was always going to be better. And I know you agree. But I just that kind of stuff is why I say Eli was a very talented quarterback, and I think he is a Hall of Famer, no doubt. I think he wasn't the best. I think he didn't have the best receivers. I think his offensive line always hurt him. But he had a decent, he had a solid career. He had a good football knowledge, but no one will ever
solid Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, I think he was. I think in terms of
you want the best of the best for a Hall of Fame, not solid.
I think he was good enough to make the Hall of Fame, and we've had this conversation.
By the way, John Mizik, the Broncos aren't winning more than 5 games. I already told you that last night. Keep commenting about how they're going to beat the NFC least. They're not winning more than 5 games, whether they beat the NFC least or not. 5 games is the max. Sorry.
I don't know if I'll go
Broncos,
that low.
they don't have a quarterback. So you don't have a quarterback, you don't win.
You don't trust Teddy B?
Gosh, no. Oh, can't throw the ball more than 10 yards. Mr. Checkdown.
All right, so speaking of quarterbacks, this was the other thing I wanted to talk about anyway. I wanted to talk about Tim Tebow because as stupid as the story has been, you still got to cover it. We may not want to, but let's be real, we have to. I mean, that's the nature of how this goes. We have to cover it whether we like it or not. Tim Tebow was cut, and honestly, he deserves to be. He was terrible. Did either of you see his
I
blocking?
saw the block, yeah.
Did you see it, JB?
You know, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see it, but I wasn't expecting much. I give him credit for trying, but
yeah,
it took a spot away from someone that actually could have made the team.
I agree.
That's the only
or at
problem.
least they cut him early, and it wasn't
they cut him early that it's not too late.
It wasn't like the whole preseason, right?
It
they
wasn't
gave him
the
a shot.
52-man roster, but
yeah.
No, and I'm glad he got cut because honestly, he was terrible.
I mean, maybe he could be a coach. I mean, I'm sure he could be a good coach.
I think he's got the IQ for it. I just don't think he's got the skill set to play in the NFL anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him as a coach. I think that he would do a good job. I think he knows a lot about the sport. He's just not.
I think he's going to tennis next, and then the following year be hockey.
Will he play soccer?
Soccer, possibly 2 years down the road. Then he may go to the LPGA. He's just going everywhere.
Actually, I got a better idea. I know where he's going next. He's going to play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets.
Nice.
That's where he's going next. I'm putting my money on that one. Look, I respect him trying, but the way I see it, your career is done. Just let's wrap it up already. I mean, you tried baseball, you didn't do anything there. After trying football and you had failed there already once, you tried football again, you failed again. And
at least he tried. I mean, he went out swinging.
I appreciate him trying, but you got to know when to say, all right, I'm done. And I hate to say it, but he's done.
So let's go from one quarterback who was to some new quarterbacks. So what do you guys think of some of the quarterbacks this weekend?
Let's start with
who are you surprised with, John?
I was not impressed by Trey Lance. He made one nice play, but other than that, I was not impressed. Trevor Lawrence, I was not impressed. I thought his mechanics were slow. He looked a little bit gun shy with that bad offensive line. The only one that played well was Justin Fields, but he didn't play well. He played well against third and fourth strings. He struggled bad against the first string. So I can't get Justin Fields a credit, because I don't think he played well. That's just me.
I'll defer to JB first.
I'm going to say third string, second string. It doesn't matter if you play when you're in the game. Yes, you want him to do well the whole time he's in, but this was his opportunity. He showed a lot of flashes of very good stuff. They're not going to win with Andy Dalton, so I want Fields in as soon as you can put him in. As a Giant fan, play Dalton the whole year. That's a good thing. This way we can draft another receiver we don't need next year. But
right.
I thought it was a good outing for him.
I have to agree. He looked very good. I mean, I know it's easy to say, he played against, not the first team, but you can only play against the competition you're given. And I know JB loves to say that, but he's right. I mean, that's the way I see it. You can't play against people that aren't on the field. And given his opportunity, he played well. I mean, he went out there and did what he needed to do, and he played well. And you know what? I'm not expecting him to go out there against first team players and just, shred them. I expect him to struggle. I'm not expecting him to be good. I hate to say it like that, but I expect him to play decent, but I don't expect him to, be out there and play amazing. I expect him to make mistakes, and that's okay.
First time on an NFL field.
I expect him to make the mistakes. It's going to happen. It's a learning curve, and that's okay. But I think for what we saw and for how long we got to see it, I would say he's NFL ready. I don't think he's going to go out there, like I said, and just crush everybody. But I think he's ready to be the starting quarterback, and he proved that to me. And I think it's just a matter of, are they going to put him out there? Are they going to give him the opportunity to be the starting quarterback? Because I think he deserves it. It's not Andy Dalton. And I agree with what you said, JB. I'd love for Andy Dalton to start the entire time and give us the best draft pick. That's fine.
I think week 2 is when Fields should start. Against the Bengals, avoid the Rams week 1 on Sunday Night Football. Avoid Aaron Donald. Give him the Bengals week 2 at home.
And if they do that, that's fine.
Yep. But that's what I would do.
But the point is, the man needs to start. I think he was the best quarterback in this draft, period. I don't care what anybody wants to say. You guys are welcome to disagree with me, and I will gladly tell you why I think he was the best. But I think Trevor Lawrence was great. I think he was a good number 2, based on all the talent around them. But I think the draft board in terms of quarterbacks probably should have had Justin Fields 1, Trevor Lawrence 2.
I wouldn't have put that, but I think based on where they landed, I think that maybe the best position was for Justin Fields landing in Chicago. I think they have the most upside over like long term. I think they have the most upside. It's going to be hard for Trevor Lawrence to turn Jacksonville around. Hard for Zach Wilson to turn around the Jets. Trey Lance is in a great position, but I just don't believe in his talent.
Trey Lance is in the best position for any quarterback because he has the least amount of work. I actually think that Justin Fields should have gone from San Francisco. I think that would have been the best situation for him just because it would have allowed him to play behind a strong offensive line with some other fantastic players and more importantly, a good coach. That's why I think Justin Fields I think that's his biggest disadvantage. He's just got a bad coach. I mean, Matt Nagy's not a good coach. I'm sorry. I don't know who needs to hear it that doesn't know that already, but I think he's a terrible head coach, and I don't think he should be coaching. When you have David Montgomery and you underutilize him the way you do, there's a problem. It's as simple as that.
That's a pretty good way of looking at it. I mean, but I think talent-wise, either San Fran or Chicago was the best spot for Fields. I'm with John. I'm not huge on Lance.
Lawrence. I think he's decent. Yeah. I think he's probably going to be better than Zach Wilson, which is not necessarily saying too much.
I don't really like Zach Wilson. I thought that was a reach, even though it's the Jets. So even if the guy's good, they'll find a way for him not to be.
Yeah.
That's what the Jets do with quarterbacks.
He hasn't looked good recently.
No, and Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville. What's going to happen in Jacksonville? I mean, it's going to be years before they do anything,
I think his problem is he's got too much of an expectation on his shoulders already. And that's the thing that is going to be good for Justin Fields. Yes, there are expectations for him to play well, but he's not expected to be a savior. He's just expected to go out there and play well. That's it. And I think that's what's good for a quarterback is if you don't have too high of expectations, you're okay. But I don't know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to handle all that pressure. I hate to say.
No, I don't know. I don't see it. I think out of the whole class, Fields might be the one that has a shot if they get rid of Nagy at the end of this year and bring somebody else in.
I agree. Like I said, I think he has the most upside. I still think Trey Lance is the best quarterback in terms of situation where he was put. But if I had to say who I wanted to start my franchise with, I'm choosing Justin Fields. I think the biggest thing that Fields has that I don't see with the other ones, like I think Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, but I don't see the fire in Trevor Lawrence at all. Like I've never seen that. Like he's going to be Roger Goodell's poster boy because he's emotionless. I don't see him with a lot of emotion a lot of the time. Justin Fields, he is always fired up. He's hungry, and he has said that, look, there were quarterbacks drafted before me. I'll remember that. It's fine. I remember that. And I'm going to take that into consideration when I go out and play. I want to make those other people regret not taking me. And I love that attitude.
And I don't see why you'd want to put Dalton in front of him. I don't think Dalton, at this point in his career, I don't see the upside of it. unless you're looking to lose.
The only reason I could take a guess, and I doubt that Nagy's smart enough to do this. I only suggest this because we're not total idiots, but Nagy, sorry to say, is not very smart. I don't think he's a good coach, as I've made that pretty clear. The only guess I have is I just talked about how I think that Justin Fields has this incredible fire that no other quarterback has, and he takes things very personally, which he does it in the right way, if that makes sense. He does it where, like, okay, I'm going to use this as motivation. The only guess is that they're intentionally putting Dalton out there and saying, all right, come on, come earn it. Show us what you got. I doubt that that's what they're doing, but it's a nice thought. It sounds nice, to try and motivate him, but I don't know that that's what's happening.
I don't know, but we'll see.
I doubt that's what's happening.
It's Nagy's there. They'll find a way to mess it up. He's a horrible coach.
He's terrible, but we'll see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the NFL I wanted to talk about. I don't think there was.
Well, John's not here, so now let's have a lot of fun.
I know. Yeah, I think he said, I knew there's one more thing before we go off the NFL. I just want to remind everybody, we are doing our fantasy football league. We have a tiny bit of additional more information, so I will provide that to everybody. We actually have a draft date set now, so that's kind of the additional information. So Sideline Sports will be having our second annual fantasy league. It's a 10-man league, so it's myself, John, and JB versus 7 other people, 7 fans. So if you want in, by all means, write into us. Our information is scrolling across the bottom on our ticker, so you can Sideline Sports as on Instagram and Twitter at Sideline Sport 1, and you are welcome to message us on there. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. You can't message us on YouTube, but you can put your thoughts in the comments. And as for Facebook, you can message our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, so you can just message us directly on there, or you can message any of the 3 of us, and we will absolutely answer. We just want to know why you think you should be in the league. We also have our email, which is sidelinesportsnet@gmail.com. So you can also just write us in there. The draft date will be live August 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a standard PPR league on fantasy. We already have spots filling up. We have quite a few people that have actually written in. So we are only accepting 7 spots. It's not first come, first serve. If we have too many people, then we'll just basically pick out of a hat and say, if everybody is equal, here are our 7. We're going to send league invites probably late next week. I'll be the one sending out the league invite. I'll take care of that for us. So if you are going to be in the league, just look out. I will send that. I'm looking to send them, I'm thinking Thursday or Friday next week, so probably 26th or 27th, because the draft will be on Monday or 30th. So I don't think there's any other information. You guys are competing for second place against me, so just keep that in mind.
That's right. Second place against me. I don't know who this guy is up there. Don't pay attention to him. He will be beaten in 2 leagues, twice.
No shot.
So.
Look, I am the reigning champ in our league last year. In our league last year. So just remember, I will be winning again. And, when you lose, don't be upset. I 2
for 2 this year. I will be first.
Is that so?
Yes.
All right. So now that I got that out of the way, just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Let's move to NBA. There's not a whole lot, but there is the offseason. So, JB, what do you got? Anything going on?
So we got the Christmas schedule that's out at the beginning of the year schedule. Christmas schedule is your regular Knicks Hawks to start it off. Repeat of the 4-5 first round matchup. Be fun to watch. Good to see the Knicks play on Christmas.
Should be a solid game.
Trae Young, that should be good. Then you got the Bucks Celtics, the 2:30 game. Champions deserve to play on Christmas. The Celtics, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're the Celtics. That's why they're playing.
I was going to say, I'm not looking forward to it too much because it sounds like the Celtics are going to get their butt whooped.
Yeah, then you got the Warriors Suns, which should be the game of the day at 5. That should be the game to watch.
This game and the one
Lakers
after
Nets.
that, those are my two favorite games. Back to back. Oh, I can't wait. That is going to be so fun.
Lakers Nets, I don't know.
It's the two super teams. That's why I'm looking forward to it.
And then you got the night game, which is Utah versus Dallas. So my question, looking at that, where's Ja, and where's Zion? They're your face of the league coming up. LeBron's getting older. He didn't win the championship this year. I get Giannis did.
Here's what I'm seeing happening. They want the Hawks and the Knicks because they got to have New York in there somewhere. They want to have the Knicks, specifically them. And the Hawks, it's a first-round matchup again. So, like you said, I agree with that.
I get it.
And Trey is a great young star, so they definitely want that.
And they had the whole New York beef, so you'll get some juice from that game, being our Christmas. Absolutely. I get that. That's a smart pick.
Milwaukee, they're going to have to play because they won the championship. That makes sense. Boston, they're just going for another big city. I get it. The 5 o'clock game, pretty simple because – the 8 o'clock game. No, that's the 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, yeah. Golden State is 5 o'clock, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Golden State is 5 o'clock. Why? Because Steph Curry, because it's Golden State. And why Phoenix? Because you want to have Devin Booker. You want to have one of your young stars.
I get that completely. I have no issues with Phoenix.
I think that's going to be the best game of the day. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. And why the Nets and the Lakers are playing? A, Lakers big market. B, lots of stars. C, LeBron. Just LeBron specifically. And then why is Brooklyn playing? It's the battle of the super teams. I agree that they should have more of their young superstars because I think it should have been Dallas. I get it because you have Luka. I respect that choice. I'm okay with that. But I think it should have been Dallas versus either Ja and the Grizzlies or Zion and the Pels. Should have been one of those two teams because you have one of your other young stars. But I don't get why Utah's in there. I mean, I know they made the playoffs last year. That's all well and good. I know they're a great team.
Ida Mitchell.
But, I mean, no offense to any of them. I think Mitchell's great. He's one of the best players in our league, no question. But also at the same time, I could do without that game. I could do without, really, I should rephrase that. It's not that game. I could do without having Utah. That's what it is.
I would have liked to see Denver. I get the Dallas because of Luka.
Right. And I'm okay with that.
I think I would have wanted to see Denver against either Zion or Ja. One of the two.
That would have been good.
That would have been more favorable.
Your reigning MVP, I mean, probably would have been a good idea.
I just don't get it. But the NBA does what the NBA does. They give us 5 games, so it's going to be plenty to watch.
For the most part, I think it was really let's get the big names. Let's get the big markets. And it worked. I mean, they accomplished their goal.
Oh, yeah.
It's
hard because you got both New York teams that are good,
Right.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult to fit it in.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Golden State versus the Suns. That should be a fantastic game. And
that's going to be the game of the day.
I agree.
The Lakers, it's going to be a fun game. But
it should be high scoring. That's what it should be.
The Lakers, they're so old at this point.
I think they're one of, if not the oldest team in the league.
They're all my age.
Based on average age.
They're my age. That's not good for the NBA. The odds are they're not winning anything, except Anthony Davis, who's a lot younger.
Yeah. But the difference is he's Glass Joe. So
yes.
Is his age really any help? No, not really, considering he can't stay in.
Exactly.
So
anything else in the NBA that you would think of? Because it was pretty quiet this week.
I know Joel
Luka
Embiid
got the extension. Joel signed.
Luka was a couple weeks ago, but we talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Joel signed for $196.
Good for him.
You
I mean,
know,
it's
know,
deserved.
He deserved it. You know, and basketball money is almost like monopoly money. If you're the star of your team, you get 40+ million, and it's easy. You know,
Basically.
so you know.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Sports are quiet this week. We talked about this earlier. It sucks.
Yeah.
There is nothing. I mean, football carries conversation because there's plenty going on there.
Yeah, it's the preseason.
It's quiet.
Well,
it is
right
quiet.
now, big day in New York between me and you, right between where we both are. The Yankees are 3 outs away from sweeping a doubleheader against the Red Sox.
The Red Sox, I love it.
Which will put us in a tie for the wild card.
Yes, because the Red Sox fell
Yes,
they fell down to the second wild card spot earlier today when they lost to us the first game.
Yeah, they were 2 games up on us before the day started. And if we can close out the second game, we'll pick up both games and we'll be tied.
That sounds nice. It's a nice idea.
Considering we didn't beat the Red Sox pretty much before the series, you know.
And I got to say this. I mean, we're still without Rizzo. So imagine how much better they can get when he's back. I mean, he is, I would argue, he will probably be our best player.
I like Anthony Rizzo.
In his limited time with us, he will be our best player. And
they need to do whatever they need to do to re-sign him. He's young enough where he could play first base for a while, or DH.
He's early, I think he's 31.
I want to say that's about right. But
I'll check.
You know, they need to.
32. He just turned 32.
You can get a good 5 years out of him.
Easily.
You know?
And I like Luke Voigt. Don't get me wrong. I love Luke Voigt.
No, but yeah, there's a difference.
Exactly. You know? No, I agree.
But I think you got to sign him, especially with the short porch. It was a great move, and if they sign him, that's a great move.
I would like them to sign at least him. I'd like Joey Gallo to stay as well because he's a good leader in the clubhouse. But
yes,
we'll see. Oh, this is just uncalled for. But he knows he's out of order, so
yes, knowing you're out of order is important.
Because this was the other thing I want to talk about Yankee wise. Field of Dreams game. Did you get to watch it?
I unfortunately missed it.
So the way I look at it is this. It was cool. I liked it. But that is one of the worst fields I've ever seen. Not because the field itself was bad, but the outfield walls are so short. One of them was like 330, which I know I'm used to, but I'm fairly certain both outfield walls were less than 350 feet, like left and right field. It was a home run frenzy, and it was a beautiful field, but I mean, I don't know.
I love the concept. I don't like the one game there. I think you play a 3-game set, and you take 1 game or 2 games. You take 1 game from each home team. You know, you make one. You know, vice versa. Yeah. You lose a game on a homestand. You lose a game on the other homestand. But you know, the 1 game is what they did. Great idea. Novel concept. Baseball. That's the one thing that they've done. They've done a great job of putting the games in different locations. They did it with Williamsport.
Right.
You know, I think that's what baseball needs to do. Bring games to different places to try and drum up.
I love that they went to Iowa. I mean, so not to cut you off, but
yes,
I looked up the dimensions because I was curious how the field was built in terms of dimensions, and I was right. So it's 335 feet down the left and right field lines, and 400 to dead center. That is
that's a short. That's a short field.
Like, I'm okay with one field being short because, I mean, look at the Yankees. I mean, let's be real. Our field is short. I know we have the short porch. I understand it, but both porches were pretty short. I mean, Yankees left field is 318, left center is 399, center field is 408, right field also short, 314. It's pretty rough. And this was
the only reason I don't mind it too much is because both teams get to hit there. It's not as if, you're hitting here and I got to go to a tougher stadium to hit.
Right.
But it is what it is. I mean,
the game was great, but it was a home run fest, which I don't think was an accident.
It's a novel concept, but I think next time you got to play 2 games, play a home and home, take away, one home game for each side.
Yeah.
And
that would be cool.
Because one game, that's it, you're done. I get that it's special because it's one game, but you also have travel. And it worked out because it's Chicago. Chicago and Iowa were right next to each other,
right.
So it wasn't that big of a deal.
It wasn't too far of a travel. They traveled in one day.
Right.
Like they took the next day for travel.
But at the same time, if you put 2 games there, I think it would just be a better feel.
I agree. I mean, I got to say this, though. As great as the game was, Kevin Costner ruined it because he made it all about him. Like, he just too much focus on him. I get he was in the original movie. The movie. I completely understand having him there, but it was too. It felt too much like the focus was on him. I was like, all right, can we get to the players, please? But I will say this: the best part of that game was the entrances, the players coming from the outfield in the cornfields. That was awesome. That's pretty sick. So cool. And I think they planned a game for next year already.
Yeah, Cubs, Reds.
Cubs. Okay. I'm glad they did because this field is awesome, but I agree. We need more games. We need more than just one. You know
what? Let every team play a series there. I don't know. I wonder if you could get fans there because obviously if you played, just say, for example, 2 East Coast teams, Yankees, Red Sox.
I was just going to say, oh, my God, imagine putting Yankees, Red Sox out there. Oh, my God, that would be incredible.
I mean, would you get enough fans that would go because it's Yankees, Red Sox? Why not let every team play a 3-game set there or 2 games?
The only problem is the seating was very limited. I want to say it was under 9,000 people. That not because of COVID, but because that's how much space they I guess physically could fit based on the parameters. Because you have to understand the entire field was around a cornfield. It wasn't part of it was cornfield field in the middle.
Yeah.
So they only took out so much space to build the field. So the only problem, it's a matter of how much space, that they'll have, how much space they will have to allow fans. And if they can expand it, great. But the problem is if they don't, then it's very limited.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they even sold tickets to people outside of Iowa. I don't know. I don't know how the tickets work. I'm pretty sure I think you had to be an Iowa resident to get tickets, maybe. Which is even more interesting. The limited seating, so that's why it wasn't Yankee Stadium with 40-something thousand. So
yeah, no, it was very limited seating. It was nice, but limited seating. But it was good. I liked it nonetheless.
It's interesting concept.
I just would like more there. I agree. It would be fun with more.
I think baseball's got to find different ways. The NHL has what do they call it? The
Winter Classic.
Winter Classic.
Love it.
Baseball
and they have multiple.
Doing that.
They have multiple games. Usually they do 2 games.
Yes, I think that baseball should start throwing these games in weird places. Be fans.
Absolutely.
Where would you want to see a baseball game?
I mean, besides there, what I would like? I would like to see them recreate the Sandlot.
Okay.
Now, where they would create it, to be determined. But I would love to see that. I think, You could maybe make it in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a state where there's no baseball, nothing. Like
Right, because you want to just get
purely all Oklahoma has that I know of is Oklahoma football. I know they have other sports in terms of the school, but that's what I know that they have. Like that is what I know they have.
That would be an interesting thought.
What do you think? I mean,
I would think like the Sandlot would be cool. Maybe a cold weather baseball game. I mean, it's summer, so Alaska's not completely out there. Send some teams up there. Go completely different. Go to Hawaii.
That'd be interesting.
Have every team play a 3-game set or make it a 4-game set, 2 and 2, on the road against a random team. And send them somewhere different where there's no baseball.
I like it.
Bring in people.
Yeah, no, that would be. I like it. So where would you propose that we put it? Hawaii, you said.
Hawaii, Alaska, Puerto Rico.
Okay, I like the idea.
Mexico.
Send them to Greenland. That would be a first. You know what we should do? Play baseball in the UK.
The Yankees did, didn't they? They played the Red Sox there a couple of years back, I believe.
Don't remember. But
look it up. I'm pretty sure we played the Red Sox. It was a ridiculous game. I want to say it was really high scoring, if I remember correctly.
I will let you know in a moment.
Yeah, it was odd. It could be, just send them all over. Get them to different places. There's the Cape Cod Summer League. Send them to Cape Cod.
Sure.
Send the Red Sox to Cape Cod for a weekend. Just build it out. Bring fans in. That's what baseball's got to do.
Yeah, they did play, I think, a couple of years ago. They did.
Yeah. I mean, just different stuff.
I agree. No, get something different. I mean, you got to change it up somehow.
So since we're talking about places to play baseball, I got to go to Oracle Park last week.
Okay.
Got to see the Giants play the Rockies.
Okay.
So let me tell you my experience of San Francisco.
Uh-oh.
Beautiful city. And remember how last week I told John, don't insult the people of Ohio.
Yes.
I'm going to insult the people of San Francisco. I'm going to go against my own better judgment, but there's reasons.
There's reasons. Okay, I'll listen.
Yes.
Do we have a JB rant incoming?
Yes.
Okay.
So I go into a CVS, right?
Okay.
Now you tell me. Pretend this is you. You're walking, random city. It could be in New York, could be anywhere. You've been to CVS. CVSs have bathrooms.
Yeah.
Some CVSs are 2 floors.
CVS usually has a bathroom somewhere with it. I don't think CVS, Walgreens, any of those. I'm almost always certain they have one.
Right.
Those are that Target. Those are like the places you gotta stop.
Exactly.
That's what you need. It's a good place to go. I agree. That's fair.
Exactly.
No, that's fair.
I go into a CVS. This one looks like it's 2 floors because there's an elevator.
Okay.
So go down the elevator, find the bathroom, use the bathroom. I walk out of the bathroom. There's a security guard and some other guy. I don't know if he's a manager or what.
Okay.
How did you get down here? Now, I'm thinking it's a trick question because there's an elevator. So I said, the elevator? He goes, I was about to call the cops. What are you doing down here? So I'm even more dumbfounded because I walked out of the bathroom.
What? No, hold on. My response would have been, I'm growing a tree.
Wait, but I mean,
I'm planting a garden. Like, obviously, go to the bathroom.
So he goes, the bathrooms don't work. I said, I just used it. So you're lying to me.
Did the toilet flush?
Exactly.
It did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'm just making sure.
We're still in the Northern Hemisphere. It still went the same way. It didn't go backwards or anything.
Okay. Just
it worked.
making sure.
So I go, okay. So he goes, how did you know there was a bathroom down here? I said, I've been to CVS before in my life.
You kind of just took a guess.
I said, a lot of CVSs are 2 floors. There was an elevator. He goes, well, you can't come down here without asking. Well, they put a sign on the elevator that says Out of order. Put up out of order. I'm not logged in, so I can't do it. But put up out of order. Had it said out of order, I wouldn't have got on the elevator. Because who wants to get stuck in an elevator?
No, of course not.
No, this dumb guy goes, how did you – only one way to get down, an elevator.
You press the button to call the elevator. Press the button to go downstairs.
How did you know to go down here? It's just logic.
Just, all right, well, I don't see anything up here. Well, it must be downstairs.
So I tell the guy, if you really don't want people to use the restroom, if it's just for employees, because that's what's the next thing because of COVID.
Okay.
Put a sign on the elevator that says out of order.
Or just even don't even do that. On the bathroom door, employees only. Okay.
Exactly.
Simple.
But, and then giving me grief about going downstairs, I'm like, really? Dude. I was like, forget it. Then, Oracle Park. We go to Oracle Park, right? Okay. We walk in. We want to see what gate we can go in. Now, although I don't smoke on camera, I am a smoker. So I'm having a cigarette. So I'm outside the stadium, which is fine on the street. I go to the security guard. Excuse me, sir, can I go in here? The dude got an attitude. Instead of saying, can you please not smoke over here? That's got to get away from me. So my response to him, and if you're a San Francisco Giant fan, oh, well, they're the New York Giants. You're a second-rate city with a second-rate team because you're going to lose to the Dodgers anyway. Good night. We can move on now. Next topic. So I told him good night as I walked away.
Oh, my. I'm not going to call you out of order for that because I love it. That
was my San Francisco experience. And I must say, the people of San Francisco were great. Those were just two special kind of stupid people, because I enjoyed the city. It was a great city. I'd never been there. The park itself was gorgeous. The fans, everything moves slower outside of New York City. San Francisco is supposed to be a big city.
I've been there.
Everything's slow.
It's very relaxing out there. I loved it.
A little cold, but Fisherman's Wharf. That's all I'm going to say.
It does get cold.
I was dying.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I was dying. A beautiful city. And,
everything
else
I had to give
great about it. But those two idiots, they deserved each other. Maybe I could have introduced the security guard to the manager, and he could have said, how did you find the gate? And the other one could have said, it was in the bathroom.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's go to MLB. John's not here.
John,
let's go back to MLB, I guess. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think.
I mean, right now, it's just the race for the playoffs. If the Red Sox lose, they're going to be tied with the Yankees for the wild card. And basically, it's a 3-team, 2-horse race for that. Yeah. And, it comes down to will the Yankees, with being 4.5 games behind the Rays, have a shot at catching them? The Rays are playing great baseball, but something about this Yankee team, with all the adversity they face, they're playing good baseball.
They look better. They do look better.
Brian Snow messaged me yesterday, how about the White Sox? And I feel like I made this point clear last week. I'm just not afraid of the White Sox. I think they're going to be a good team for a few years.
No, I think they're good. I wouldn't say I'm worried either.
No, I mean, I think they're going to be really good, but this year I just don't fear them. I mean, they did rob the Cubs of their reliever and closer, who were really good. What is it?
Kimbrel.
Kimbrel, and they got the other guy, Texera, I believe. Tepera. Tepera was another good reliever that the Cubs had when the Cubs had their fire sale.
Yeah.
So, it was a good move.
Yeah. So, any other news in baseball that I missed? I don't think so.
I'm looking to see. I mean,
I know. I'm like,
the White Sox are up 11 games, so that division's done. The A's are fighting for the wild card, and they're 2.5 behind the Astros. I don't see anything happening there. The Mets have fallen 3.5 behind the Braves, and they're in third place from first place. Whatever happened
Mets.
to them? The Brewers are all of a sudden taking advantage of that division. And the Giants, the collapse will come. You may have gotten Chris Bryant. He may have hit 2 home runs, but you're playing the Mets. And because of your security guard, you're a second-rate city with a second-rate team. It's not the Polo Grounds, Oracle Park. Go to Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium. Now, that's a stadium. Oracle Park, get better employees. That's it. I'm done.
Oh, boy. JB you're upset, aren't you?
Listen, just all you had to do was say, can you move the cigarette away? Don't smoke near me.
Yeah.
I don't smoke on camera. It's not professional. I get you. Some people don't like it, but be nice.
Agreed.
Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. You know, maybe because you stole a team that's no good.
Hold on. This may be one of my favorite comments of all time because it's so accurate. Just the Mets have met again. And the Mets are the Mets. I mean, simple as that.
The Mets, the Jets, and it used to be the Nets, but they're trying to buy their way out of it.
Well, the Mets now, the Nets now have everybody and their mother on their team, literally.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they still didn't win or even get to the championship. So it's kind of still the Mets, Jets, and Nets.
For now.
And it used to be, and from like 84 on, it was the Mets, Jets, Nets, and Islanders. But now the Islanders kind of turned it around. So
that they have. Speaking of NHL, there's not a whole lot going on, but one thing came up today that I figured we'll touch on, and then probably end because I don't think there's one other thing I want to cover, but I'll try and remember. But anyway, NHL owners approved jersey ads for the 22-23 season, so it looks like they're selling out as well.
If it increases player salaries, because the NHL players don't get paid like any other sport, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I know I don't love the way that it's going to look personally. I'm not a fan of it.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly, but
if
it gets these guys to make a little bit more because the NHL, their players don't get paid.
No, it's rough.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It just I'm not a huge fan, but I mean, this is what I'm worried it's going to start looking like. I mean, this is just an example of a jersey. It's a KHL jersey, so they have a lot of stuff on them, and this is what I don't want to see happen. I don't want this, where it's the logo, and then if you zoom in, company, looks like a company.
That's too much.
Right, and what I don't want is that to happen. I don't want where it's, everything all over these jerseys, because here's another one. This one's a little bit better, but still, this is probably a company. I have no idea what it says. Something down here, up here. It's just, there's a lot happening, and that's not what I want. I want very.
The Yankees
simple.
have won. I'm starting to hear the Red Sox hear footsteps.
I love it. But yeah, that's what I don't want to happen. That's all.
That's
my only
I'm with
real
you
fear.
completely.
That's my only
I'm
worry.
with you completely.
I mean, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I really doubt it, but that's my fear, is that we start having that look where it's everything. Like everywhere you look, it's just, there's so much going on. I just don't want that. That's the only thing I don't want. But I agree. I'm perfectly happy with them doing it, because you're right. If it's going to get the players to make more money, that would be great, because I've always felt they're highly underpaid compared to other players, like other leagues.
The NHL, it's tough to be a hockey player. First of all,
is.
just learning to skate that good.
Yeah.
Then to control a stick as you're skating, and then to control a puck as you're holding a stick as you're skating. So it's got to be one of the toughest sports.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be paid better, but they don't. So we'll see.
So one more Yankee note just before we go back to hockey, because they just flashed it up.
There's nothing else really to do with hockey, so go right ahead.
July 6th, the Yankees were 10.5 games out of the playoffs. Today is August the 17th. We are now holding the second wild card spot.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Boston. You're doing a Mets. Not good.
Not good. Well, you know what? I think a lot of it has to do with that trade deadline. I think it was a kick in the butt, if you will. You know, they said, "All right, got to pick it up, gentlemen. This is not acceptable," and I'm impressed. I'm impressed with them. I have to say, they have done a very good job.
About time. He has too much talent to play bad baseball.
And it's funny that we're saying all this because honestly, this is what it should have been the whole time.
Yeah. You know, and I get that the starting pitching isn't the greatest, you know, but our bullpen should be solid and we should be able to hit.
Yeah.
You know, so if they're high scoring games, we should be winning most of them, but we shouldn't be not hitting. And that was the problem. We went through a period where we just weren't hitting consistently. And
if we were hitting it, we still are grounded into a lot of double plays. That's another big issue.
Yep.
The other thing, I knew I forgot something. Jamal Adams, going all the way back to the NFL where we started, Jamal Adams signed I believe it was an extension, a 4-year extension with a max value of $72 million, making him the highest paid safety, and I think he was the 4th highest defensive back. And I got to be honest, I think he's good, but I don't think he deserved that kind of money. I'm sorry. I don't know what you think, but I think
I don't get it.
I think he was overpaid by a little bit. I mean,
I don't get it. I love to. I don't know. $38 million guaranteed, according to John Misick.
I mean, it's a lot of money, and I know he's good and all, and that's fine, but I don't know. I think he got highly overpaid. I mean, that's just me. But yeah, I mean, look, good for him for making the money, but I look at just some of the other safeties in the league. I mean, what is he? He's played since 2017. So in 4 years, do you know how many career interceptions he has?
How many? 2. Nice. Well, some guys aren't there to make interceptions, though.
No, I know, I mean, but
that's not everyone's forte. Is that some guys are hitters, some guys are.
I get that. But
some guys are cover guys.
Do you know how many interceptions in his career? I believe it was Vince Wilfork had.
3.
Yep.
Just guessing.
Yeah. Vince Wilfork.
I kind of had the feeling he was going to have more.
But Jamal Adams is a safety in which his position is, in some aspects, meant to intercept the ball. He has 2. And I'm not – look, I there's a lot of things that make him great. And I'm not trying to – get on his case because he does a lot of great things, but he lacks in that aspect a little bit, and it's concerning.
Yeah, I mean, but it's hard to look at a defender that doesn't get interceptions because there's no stat that's readily available. I'm sure we can look for it. We have access to the NFL stats. How many balls are thrown at him? We'd have to really do a dive down to see.
Right.
The realistic number of that. So it's a hard stat to go by.
In his career, he's had 28 passes defended. And just to put in perspective, Minkah Fitzpatrick is another one of the the best.
Yes, one of the top of the game.
One of the top. He has 29, and he's only played in 3 seasons, 2018, 19, and 20. Jamal Adams has played 17, 18, 19, 20, so 4 seasons. And Minkah Fitzpatrick also has 11 career interceptions.
They've also thrown at him a little bit more.
I'm just saying.
So, but is that a respect thing? Maybe they're not throwing at Adams as much, which is...
I don't know.
That's why it's tough with secondary people you really have to drill down on the stats. It's not my area.
The one thing I'll say about Jamal Adams, in terms of sacks, he's incredible. He had 9.5 last season. So he's got his ups and downs. I'm just, overall, I just think it was a little bit much.
I think I agree with you. It was a high contract, but good for him.
And Tyrann Mathieu, I mean, I don't know what he's making, but I guarantee you he should make more than Jamal Adams. Tyrann Mathieu, I think is.
I could not disagree at all.
Oh, I will. I think he is the best in the game over Jamal Adams, and that's not even. I don't even think it's a question.
No, I agree.
I don't even think it's close. I mean, the only thing I think Jamal Adams would have over Mathieu probably is sacks. That's it. And I get it, but I think
it's a reach, like you said, but it's hard when you start, when you're talking defensive back numbers, it's tough.
It is. I agree, but
it's more of an eye test with, who fits your defensive scheme, and I don't know. I wouldn't have paid.
No, I think he got overpaid. Excuse me, but we'll see if he lives up to the contract. Maybe he will.
I doubt it. Anything else going on?
I don't think so.
I think it was a pretty light week.
Yeah, I mean, still plenty to talk about, but it's quiet just because the NFL hasn't started. Once that starts, that'll be exciting. NBA is getting closer. NHL is getting closer, and MLB is. It's in a weird time where it's not the end of the playoff race yet.
Couple more weeks. We'll see what races we really have to look at.
Yeah. So, all right, JB, where can they find you?
JB_ the program should be back any week now. Right here, of course, Sideline Sports. Probably not in San Francisco for a while, but if I do go back, I know where the CVS is and I know where the bathroom is. I will go to the basement. And next time I go to Oracle Park, second-rate city with a second-rate team. Go Dodgers. That's all I got to say. Have a great night. And for the rest of the people in San Francisco, I love you. Those two yokels, losers.
No.
Go ahead.
I'll take care of John because John I think he's in a meeting, he said. So no big deal. You can find him here, Sports Arena, Mondays and Wednesdays. NFL Carousel when it comes back. He covers you cover the Chargers. He covers the Ravens, I think.
The Ravens.
Ravens? Yep. All right, see, I got it. John writes for Cardiac Canes, so find him there.
I'm sorry. Well, when you're done, remind me.
No, what do you got?
Oh, I'm doing the John Mizek show for the NFC East tomorrow. Yes. I keep forgetting. That's horrible with that. Sorry about that, John.
That's okay. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else for John. John believes he's the most important face, the most important place, but we know that's not true. So I can dispel that rumor before he gets to say anything. I think that's it for John. You can find me here. Oh, actually, I take that back. One more. You can find John on Twitter at BlueHawks13. You can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. You can find any of us on Facebook. We're all there. But more importantly, you can find Sideline Sports across all social media. So if you're watching, as the bottom, you will see across our little ticker, Instagram and Twitter. We are Sideline Sport 1. Oh, John, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Just in time.
John, do you have anything else before we continue to wrap up?
No. Did you touch on my stuff?
Yeah, I got you. I covered you.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But I want to make sure no more sports stuff. All right.
No, the most important place with the most important face. That's all I wanted to add.
Son of a! I was hoping you wouldn't remember to say that. All right. YouTube and Facebook, just look us up, Sideline Sports. We have a group and we have a page for our show. Reminder, like I said, the Fantasy Football League, 10-man league, ESPN, standard PPR. Write us in on any of our socials that I mentioned, Instagram or Twitter at Sideline Sport 1, YouTube or Facebook, Sideline Sports. Email us at sidelinesportsnet@gmail.com and tell us why you are prepared to take second place to one of us three. We have 7 spots available, and maybe you'll be part of the league. Who knows? The league will be drafting on August 30th, so league invites for anybody that is getting invited will be going out in about a week and a half, give or take, the end of next week. So should be about August 26th or 27th is what I'm looking to send those out. So be on the lookout for those. I think that's it. Anything else, guys?
That's
No.
it.
All right, then. Everybody have a good night, and we will talk
Let's
to you
go
guys.
Dodgers.
Talk to you next week.
Let's